All right, so Secret Agent Vanessa is out on Global, and I think it's pretty important to actually make a full build video for her, and also just include like if you should dupe and all that good stuff. And actually, I think out of a lot of units, her first of all team and also stats is some of the most important and something that we need to kind of prioritize in a while. So let's kind of just get into it. I mean, she is maybe, I would say, a top 5 unit in the game. There is basically no team she can't fight given the right circumstance. Okay, she is not a be all end all. All right. For example, I'm gonna give a quick example before we really get into it. I run her with Magna. All right, and to try and push PvP, right? I was just having fun last night. I was just trying to test it, and I kept on running into mono blue. Magna does not work against mono blue. For example, if I brought Vanessa with Spirit Dive, for example, these two together would have easily been able to beat the mono blue team, right? So Vanessa, it's very much, there are teams that could technically counter her, but it's more so countering the other units that are meant to do things. She's not someone who does the whole job, right? But she is still a very, very good unit and a unit that many people will run and should run because she's just that good. Now, getting into her skills. Skill 1, one of the best in the game, and they give Black Divider a very, very similar one, being SP minus 3 for Vanessa. Okay, SP minus 3 is toxic because this allows her to really just put this on Charlotte, on a Mimosa to stop the res, okay? And also on Spirit Dive to make it so that he doesn't ult. Very good skill 1. Skill 2. Apply silence, and if you have her skill page, 60% mobility reduction. This mobility reduction is actually very important, but the silence is insanely good too against mono red teams, particularly at the moment, and also to put on a well. Okay, because after turn 1, you could also delay even further by putting the skill 2 silence for another 2 turns. Okay, great. Now the ultimate. Mobility depletion, and due to her speed, which we're going to talk about a little later in more so the passive section, well, which is coming up very soon. The mobility depletion is going to be very good as she goes before most units in the game. This is just insane to use turn 1 or even later on in the fight, and it could completely change the tide of battle. Same thing with the skill 2, like this mobility depletion, mobility lower is amazing. Now the disarm is very good, but I feel like in my opinion it limits me or kind of makes me feel guilty if I'm not targeting the DPS, because obviously this reduces the damage dealt that they do by 42%, but sometimes you have to target other people and you just have to accept it is what it is. Then protection for 1 turn. If that was 2 turns it would be nice. 1 turn is good enough, and I found Vanessa, obviously I have a very strong Vanessa, 220k HP, 12k defense. Very good, right? But I feel like she's tanky enough that the protection doesn't need to be too long. Even if she's a dark debuffer, right? She does take a lot more damage because she has type disadvantage to everyone besides Valkyrie Noel and Grey at the moment. So this protection serves as a little like safeguard, safety net, but it's not something necessary in my opinion. Now, this is a toxic ass combined attack where it's going to put 50% mobility lower. I can't say mobility for some reason. 50% mobility lower on the enemy. And this could be just put at any time, and obviously it ignores taunt, so it's going to be very good for Vanessa in cases where she's taunted, or in cases where, for example, Charlotte wants the combo, or if they want to mobility, I can't say the word, they want to lower the mobility of both enemies that are alive. So those are the skills, right? Very, very good base kit, for sure. For sure. Now let's talk about if you should be duping her, her passives, and all that good stuff. So her unique passive puts total silence if you have a rainbow team. So if you have 4 units of different colors on your team, then it will be putting total silence on the enemies for 1 turn. It's a very strong effect, but you have to remember combos are still very prevalent in the meta, so it doesn't completely destroy everyone from doing anything, but it can definitely hurt a lot of teams, and for example, it completely kills the mono red team from really doing anything, okay? So that's something I want to make very, very clear. So this is very good, but it does limit her a bit, and at the moment, unfortunately, there's only one really strong DPS, 2 technically, because Spirit Dive 2, but Spirit Dive works a lot better on other types of teams in my opinion, and better with Mimosa because it's very easy for him to die in some cases. And unfortunately, I'd say the meta would be much better for Vanessa if Julius was maybe a bit stronger in terms of him having a second skill page, but we don't have that second skill page, so that's the whole problem with Vanessa right now. I think there's not many DPSs to work alongside being able to cleave turn 1, and I mean Magna does do that for sure, but not everyone could get Magna, but we're going to give some team compositions for Magna for you guys a bit later, right? Now, let's get into her dupe. So basically, both of the dupes, right? Dupe 2, Dupe 5, is when you reach 30 battle turns, you win the game, essentially. There was one time I actually lost, but that's because my DPS were dead. Okay. So when you get to 30 battle turns at Dupe 2, SP -8. When you get to 30 battle turns at Dupe 5, increased damage taken 80%. Okay. The enemies basically lose the ability to do anything, essentially. Okay. This SP -8 is nice. I don't think it's that crazy, but this increased damage taken 80%, bro, guys, it is crazy. Okay, it is insane. Okay. I want to make that very clear that that is an insane thing. Okay, now if we actually go to the enhancement too, her stats very good. I don't get why she gets magic attack, but it could be because when you get to 30 battle turns, this would technically let you do more damage in a way, right? Because even supports start doing damage. I think Vanessa did 75k after 35 battle turns for me. Now 4 SP, okay, that puts her at a base 116 speed. Very strong. But the HP is the bigger part. 8,000 HP is incredible for her, especially once you get her to 125. So that is just some very, very good things. Now, I'm going to add another section to this video. First of all, actually, should you dupe? Before I'm going to get ahead of myself, but should you dupe? Honestly, no. Keep red 0 dupes, okay, and you're fine. These are good things, but it won't always be that you get to 30 battle turns. And we're starting to creep towards a meta where you're cleaving, okay? Julius, Black Divider, Magna, all 3 units that are able to just wipe out. And then Federal 2 is going to be more of a combo meta where you could use Licht and Raya, and also with Mara Leona, okay? So there's a lot of units. So getting Vanessa up with this, getting to 30 battle turns won't really happen as much. So I do not think it is worth going for, okay? Even if it gives speed, it doesn't matter. To me, it does not matter. And I do not think it is worth it because also Vanessa is going to be good. One dupe, she is amazing. She's an S+ unit, but even S+ units can be countered. And that is what is going to be happening in this case. So we're going to add a new section to this video. Should you 125? Okay. Every single build from now on will have this. Should you 125 this unit? The answer for Vanessa is yes. Okay. At the bare minimum, you could get her. If you don't have enough right now, I would say getting her to 110 at least. Okay, the speed isn't necessary in my opinion. But getting her to 110, getting her the extra 40k HP is going to be very important. All right, you want to get her stats up and you want her to be tanky because obviously she has type disadvantage against most of the game. All the good DPSs right now, type disadvantage. Okay, so because of that, you do want to actually get her up so that she could start tanking. Okay, so at least get her to 110. If you could push for 125 now or in the future, definitely would be a good idea. Okay, it's a bit hard to say how much resources Global is going to get in the future, but I would say that every single one of these helps her tremendously. Okay, tremendously. Now then, her best skill page is Vanessa's skill page. All right, so what I recommend you doing, I'm gonna make this very clear. I'm gonna keep on making this clear every time there's new seasonals. You want to buy out the skill pages, okay? At least one. Just get one copy and you're fine. All right, you should have extra dupes, and if you don't, this is a lesson to keep your dupes that you don't need to use for the future. All right, this skill page is amazing as it gives the mobility reduction, and at 30 battle turns at dupe 0, it gives a 50% reduced defense. So this is already a very nice thing just to have, and it could allow you, even without the dupes, to still go crazy on the enemies because it's a lot of reduced defense just to have for 2 turns. And you don't need to dupe it out. You do not need to dupe it out. I just got lucky, and since obviously it's a whale account, I got it as high as I could without having to chase anything further. So, you know, going for one copy of this for sure is good enough in my opinion. You could get it from the piece shop. Now, besides that, you could use some other ones. Now, the other ones I would recommend would be Halloween Noels if you have it max duped, because obviously putting this SP -1 for Vanessa is going to be actually very toxic because of how she works already. So if you don't have Vanessa's, you put that one, and then if you don't have that, you could put the HP set, HP skill page, because of the fact that it gives increased HP. And if you're running her on defense, which I don't recommend, at least like you shouldn't build a new defense set for her, you're going to put this one on. Now, because she does work off of accuracy too, you can give her Magna skill page. This is like really bottom of the barrel, but giving her for the increased accuracy is not a bad idea. So just consider all of those skill pages when you're kind of going for Vanessa. Mainly either keep her more tanky or obviously just give her her own skill page. So with shiny carved stones, this is going to be the best build. All right. And let's talk about it. If you're able to, on this side, obviously, remember, the shiny carved stones allow you to pick two. We're going to go over the shiny carved stone talent build and the non-shiny carved stone talent build. So here, you want defense and then the HP. Okay? Get her as tanky as possible. Here, you're going to put accuracy, because obviously Vanessa needs accuracy, and we're going to talk about that more in the gear section. And then you're going to want the debuff immunity, okay? The skill 2 is nice, but it's honestly not necessary because even her skill 1's good. And here it doesn't really matter, but you do want to have accuracy here. You want to put an accuracy piece on the top. No matter what, there has to be accuracy in here. Here, defense, damage res, those are the two main ones. And then here, crit res, speed. You could also go for HP, but mainly stick with speed first, just in case, right? Doesn't hurt, but also obviously do give her stats. Honestly, I'm considering giving her, when we get it, an HP and crit res 1. But that's basically the main set for now, and we're going to talk about without shiny carve stones. Now then, without shiny carve stones, you're going to put the skill 2 and the accuracy, definitely the best combo if you want to go for this or this, either or, right? It depends, but I would say maybe actually having the resolution would be better. I take that back. Then you would put the defense and the debuff immunity. Reason being, it's because the ones next to HP just aren't that good, right? So that's unfortunate. And then you've got damage, dealt and crit damage here. That's going to be the talents that you go for that. This slot should be either speed or crit res, okay? This slot should be defense or damage res. And then this slot should be 100% accuracy. So as for the gear set, this is probably going to be the best way to actually build Vanessa, all right? Now, it should be an HP build for multiple reasons. Number one, an HP build allows it so that when you're taking damage from DLTs, you will not die. On a defense build, when you're taking damage from dots, it is much easier for you to be killed because you're going to have, obviously, a lot less HP. I mean, I'm getting 120k HP from this. In total, I mean, this is what, like, technically I would be losing out on about like 60 to 70k, maybe, probably closer to 80 even, if I didn't have the HP build. Now, as for the sets, I mean, we could just say like speed, okay, speed, HP also would be good. Now, defense, you could, it's just very simple to run like this, but of course, you can obviously mix it up. You can run, if you have enough for somehow, the millionaire set, okay? If you have a healer on your team, you could run the damage reduction set. I forget what this one is actually called. And I'm pretty sure this is the SP one, if I'm not mistaken. I would like to say that's the SP one, but you could run the one that gives you the extra SP, all right? But usually just going for the simple triple speed, defense, HP on Vanessa is good enough. As for the substats, so obviously you're running 4 HP pieces and then 3 square pieces. You could technically run a defense piece, defense build, right? You could run a defense build, but I recommend an HP build because it's just better, especially due to the fact that your HP gets increased way more with 125 than your defense does, and Black Divider completely destroys defense units. So, let's talk about something else, the substats. Now, ideally, the substats you're going for is accuracy, okay? We were able to get on all our accessory pieces here, okay? Bunch of accuracy. Now, we haven't done it on the main piece yet because we need to build a new HP piece, an HP set for Vanessa. Now, why do you want to build accuracy? Now, there is a talent. We just went over it. When you resist damage, you get debuff immunity. How is Vanessa going to be countered if the enemy is debuff immune? Now, if we go to the question mark, we could actually read what accuracy does, and also, likewise, what damage resistance does. So, accuracy. The target's damage reduction activation rate is reduced based on this stat. So, how is the damage reduction? What is damage reduction? It is when you get blocked. And what happens when you get blocked? The resolution talent procs, okay? Damage res also contributes to this. So this is basically damage res increases your chance to block the damage. Accuracy reduces the chance to block the enemy's damage, okay? So, with increasing the accuracy, there's a lower chance for the damage resistance block to proc. Now, when it does proc, like I said, it's going to activate the debuff immunity when you get blocked, which is why you need high accuracy to lower the chance for your hit to get blocked. Because the minute it gets blocked, you put 0 debuffs on the enemy, which is why you are aiming for much higher than 350 accuracy. You want probably at least 500 accuracy, okay? So most of your pieces should have accuracy as one of the substats for you to make proper use of Vanessa. But that should not take away from her other stats. You still want HP and you still want crit res. I honestly would say you want HP, crit res, damage resistance, and accuracy. Because obviously it would be nice if you block the hits too. Those are the main 4 stats. You do not want defense in preparation for when Black Divider comes out. Because when Black Divider comes out, he gets increased damage for your defense, okay? So yes, we have the defense build, but probably in the future, this is going to be taken off for sure, because this is just letting Black Divider do more damage to you, essentially, okay? So, number one priority, about 500 accuracy, minimum. Then you go for HP and crit res, and then damage res also, okay? Those are the four main stats. Damage res, accuracy, HP, and then crit resistance are the four stats you're prioritizing. Now here, obviously, you kind of have to go for defense, okay? You put your defense. Now here, I have crit rate because we have defense. We have an HP substat with accuracy, which is much better than just having the HP ring here. So that's kind of how you're going to play about it. Make sure all your accessory pieces have good amounts of accuracy and good amounts of HP and even damage res if possible. All right, so we're going to talk about the teams for Magna, well, for Vanessa with Magna, and then mainly the two other DPSs also, okay? So, starting off, this is the team that I used in my first showcase, and it works pretty much the best if you have Magna max duped with his skill page, okay? And the reason for that is because, first of all, Vanessa allows everyone to get the silence. And then with this skill page, at least at Dupe 4, he's able to go before and the enemy Charlotte, okay? Before any damage reduction is applied, he gets 2 hits in, essentially. If you combo first turn, okay, if you combo, then you're able to ult before any damage reduction is applied, then get your second hit in. So basically, this is usually how it's going to go in most cases, right? So this is like kind of the baseline of like kind of the auto setup, I could say. So it works because of how many hits Magna is able to get in, while Vanessa, so Magna is stunning, Vanessa is silencing, lowering mobility, and it's just such a toxic combo, but there are obviously team comps that can destroy it, mainly Mono Blue, okay? Mono Blue is able to actually get rid of this team quite nicely if most of the units are very well built, so just keep that in mind, right? That's the one thing. If you do encounter Mono Blue, just maybe avoid it if you're running this team. Now, let's say you don't have Magna skill page, but you have Magna max duped. I would say max dupe for Magna is necessary, but you don't need... If you're going for the same team comp, you have everything else, but, right, remember, this does not work against Mono Blue, and it is way more risky, and on this team, okay, let me specify something. On this team, Noelle can be ran with 4 speed. On this team, Noelle must be ran as a DPS, okay? Where, do I have my DPS set? Is it this one? I think it's this one. I think it's this. So, if you're running William instead of Charlotte, that means you have less defensive, okay, to protect Magna. Magna is a big part of this team, and he needs to stay alive to be able to do good. If he doesn't stay alive, then you need Noelle to be able to fill in as a DPS. On this team, you run 4-speed Noelle. On this team, you run magic attack Noelle. William is going to be able to speed Magna up still, okay? William speeding Magna up is still going to let Magna go before the enemy Charlotte, okay? So that's insane, right? It's going to let Magna stun whoever again. And it's still going to end up working out because that speed increase from William is absolutely toxic. And then the same thing kind of occurs. Vanessa's still going to be able to go crazy, and it works out pretty well. Besides the fact that if you're fighting a burn team, then you cannot use William, okay? Like, Magna and burn teams don't go together because you could get Magna to 1 HP, and then if he gets an extra turn, then you're dead. You could obviously play around it, but it just is a bit counterintuitive. So that's why Charlotte is the safer option, but I want to say William is for sure an option that can work. Now, with right, you could put William here, you could put Lotus here if you really want to, you could put Ghost here if you want a bit more damage reduction, which I don't even think you necessarily need, okay? And this team, I mean, listen, this is a team comp that I like a good bit. I mean, is able to stay alive for a while if you start with the combo with Noelle, and then gets invulnerability again. So Yuno's got at least 2 turns while being able to kind of destroy most team comps, okay? It's just that Magna is a lot easier to use in a lot of cases, and if you're fighting with this team against the Magna team, you will lose, okay? Because Magna is better against but is better in most instances besides that, okay? So it's like kind of there's a lot of like counter teams against each other, like every team counters each other, but this team still works pretty well. And if you have and you don't really have Magna really built up at all, then hey, use that's fine. Now, this team also very toxic, okay? You give Julius invulnerability, and even if he dies, he still has another life, okay? And then if Julius fully dies, then Mimosa can res, and then Julius is going to be able to have his 2 lives again, okay? So it's going to be trying to play around, making it so that they kill Julius, and then Mimosa. One thing that you want to give Mimosa for this team comp, which I recommend you guys start grinding right away if you don't have it already, is the healer set. So this healer set 4-piece is when someone dies, The healer gets 50% mobility and 4 SP. So this is going to allow Mimosa to attack way quicker, okay? I want to make that very clear. It's going to let Mimosa get in her ult quicker, get in her reses quicker, and it's going to work out actually very well. Okay, very well. And then even at that, what's very cool is that if you combo with Vanessa and Mimosa, Vanessa uses 6 SP, puts the mobility reduction, and still gets SP back from Mimosa's combo. So, you know, this team can work pretty well. It was quite annoying to fight, and if your Julius is well built, if you actually do want to get him up to 125 too, in preparation for the future skill page that's going to be toxic as hell, then this team now is going to be pretty good, and in the future, it's going to be very good, okay? So these are the, like, 3 main DPSs that you're using, and the team comp remains rather the same, but I know most of you guys, or pretty much all of you guys, have Valkyrie Noelle, and if you don't, then that is quite unfortunate. I mean, I'm giving you guys the best teams. I don't really see a replacement for Valkyrie Noelle. Okay, if you want to run, like, they're really, I'm not gonna lie, there's not much. Okay, there's not much. You kind of, Valkyrie is a staple. Okay, Valkyrie Vanessa is a staple, and then you kind of switch the other 2 slots around to fit in the rainbow team context. Basically, that's kind of how it goes. So if there's any other teams that you guys tried out, let me know down below. I will be actually probably making more videos with potential more team comps in the future, so stay tuned for those, okay? But these are the main ones that work as of right now on global. For sure in the future, if there's more, I will update you guys and give you guys the proper information when the time comes, okay? We'll see how she works against Finral. It's going to be very interesting, but for now, that's going to be it. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope this was helpful. Ka-ciao.